Welcome to another instructional bulletin from the California Football Officials Association. Tonight we're going to be talking about fouls during a free kick, and to understand penalty enforcement for fouls during a free kick, we must first understand what a free kick is. And in our rule book, Rule 225, Articles 3 and 5 define for us a free kick. In Article 3, a free kick is any kick that puts the ball into play to start a free kick down. After the ready for play and before the kick, each player, other than the kicker and holder, must be behind the free kick line, which is generally the K40 unless the ball has been relocated by penalty. A free kick is used for the kickoff, for a kick following a safety, and is used if a free kick is chosen following a fair catch or awarded fair catch. In Article 5, a kickoff is a free kick which puts the ball into play at the beginning of each half of the game, after a successful field goal, and after any try. 225.6 also talks about a drop kick, and a drop kick is a legal kick by any player who drops the ball and kicks it when it touches the ground or as it is rising from the ground. A drop kick may be used for a scrimmage kick, a kickoff, a free kick following a safety, or for a free kick following a fair catch or an awarded fair catch. So when we think about fouls during a free kick, Team K and Team R can foul. Easiest one to start with here is a Team R foul. Really, any Team R foul during the kick has previous spot enforcement. So if you think about it, where is the enforcement spot? If a Team R fouls during the kick, R40 holds K21 at the 50-yard line. R40 illegally bats the ball out of bounds at the R20. R40 blocks K20 below the knee, and R44 blocks K20 above the waist. We have a chop block. R40 blocks K20 below the waist, thinking they have 10 players on the field. R40 runs onto the field as the 12th player and blocks K20. R40 holds K21 at the R10. R40 clips K20 at the R35. R40 blocks K21 below the waist at the R30. When Team R commits any foul during the kick, it is always previous spot enforcement with a re-kick. And a couple of free kick fun facts in Rule 6.1 I just wanted to cover really quickly. As I mentioned, a free kick is generally from the 40-yard line, the K40, unless it's relocated by penalty. A free kick following a safety is the 20-yard line, again, unless relocated by penalty. The free kick restraining line is always 10 yards apart. So as far back as you march Team K back, or as far forward as you march Team K forward, the free kick line, the restraining line will always be 10 yards apart. K players may not be more than 5 yards behind the free kick line except for the kicker. If any K player recovers or catches a grounded free kick beyond Team R's restraining line, the ball becomes dead. Remember, Team K can never advance a kick. They can recover a kick, but they can never advance a kick. And any Team K player may recover but cannot advance or score a free kick if the kick has 1, touched the ground, and 2, traveled beyond the plane of Team R's free kick line. So again, any foul committed by Team R during the kick always has previous spot enforcement. Now we're going to talk about fouls by Team K, or the kicking team. So after the referee signals the ready for play, K32 is lined up at the K34. So this is a good 6 yards behind K's restraining line. This is an illegal formation and a 5-yard penalty, and they'll re-kick the ball. After the referee signals the ready for play, K32 is at the K42 when the ball is kicked. So 2 big yards beyond K's restraining line when the ball is kicked. This is an encroachment penalty or encroachment foul, 5-yard penalty, and a re-kick. After the referee signals the ready for play, Team K has 3 players to the left of the kicker when K1 kicks the ball. This is another illegal formation, a 5-yard penalty, and a re-kick. So what do all these fouls have in common? These are all dead ball fouls, and we will not let the kick or the play continue. So we have two different dead ball fouls, an encroachment by Team K or an illegal formation by Team K, all of which would kill the play. We would march the kicking team back 5 yards and they would re-kick. However, we do have a comment in our casebook under 614 that communication between the officials and both teams is critical, and the referee should ensure that all opportunities for assembling in a proper formation have been given before sounding the ready for play. So whomever's on Team K's restraining line, whether you're working 4-person, 5-person, or 7-person mechanics, make sure that all of your Team K players, are not behind the K35. They all need to be in front. A foot cannot be touching the K35 yard line. Any body part on the other side of the K35, they cannot have it. Have them scoot up. They generally will. I haven't seen any players, in my years of doing it, give you any lip back, but make sure that they are legally, aligned. If they do have 3 players lined up on one side of the kicker, and they might say, hey, we're going to put somebody in motion, to just kind of confuse the receiving team. That's fine, as long as that player in motion, doesn't go behind the K35 yard line. So, officials give K every opportunity to get an illegal formation, before the ready for play, is sounded. So fouls during the kick. We have a particular special enforcement here, 10.5.1J and 10.4.2 in the exception. Fouls by K during a free or scrimmage kick down prior to the end of the legal kick has an exception. The basic spot may, at the option of the offended team, be the succeeding spot prior to the end of the kick when K will not be next to put the ball in play. Now, there is another special enforcement for kick-catch interference that we'll cover in another instructional bulletin, but keeping in mind, other than kick-catch interference, if Team K fouls during the down, Team R has 2 enforcement options: previous spot enforcement and re-kick, or enforce from the succeeding spot. So think of it this way. Team R catches a kick at the R2 and is tackled at the R12. Team K fouled during the kick at the R25. Team K's foul could have taken away an advantage for Team R during the kick. Could Team R have gained more yardage in the absence of the foul? Therefore, Team R should have the option for a re-kick or to enforce from the succeeding spot. So similarly, if Team K commits a foul during the kick, but R gained a significant yardage during the return, why would we make Team R decline a penalty that gave Team K an advantage? We would tack this penalty on to the end of the run or the succeeding spot. So it's just an illustration of this. During the kick, K21 illegally blocks R33 below the waist at the R45. R2 possesses the ball and runs to the R40 where he's tackled. So what would Team R's options be? Team R would have the option to enforce the 15-yard penalty from the previous spot and re-kick from the R25, or enforce from the succeeding spot 15 yards from the end of R2's run, where the ball would be R 1st and 10 from the K25. So maybe something to talk about during your pregame discussions with your referee or referees with your crew this week. Whom would be communicating these options to Team R's head coach? Would it be you, the referee? Would it be the back judge? Would it be the calling official? Would it be the line of scrimmage official that's on Team R's sideline? A good little pregame, discussion topic here. So I have 2 quick screenshots as well here. If you're driving, do not take a look at this, but if you're watching this on your computer or your phone, the referee has blown the whistle, indicating they're ready for play, and there's 2 things wrong in this frame. Can you identify what those 2 things are? I'll give you a second here. First and foremost, we do not have any officials on K's restraining line. You'll see that both officials, we have 2 officials that are on Team R's restraining line, But whether or not you're working 4-person or 5-person or even 7-person mechanics, there should always be an official on Team K's restraining line to look for offsides or encroachment by the kicking team. The second thing that's wrong with this frame is that all of these players are either touching or behind the K35 yard line. So at no point should any of these players be on or behind the 35-yard line. They all need to be moved up in front of the 35-yard line. This really helps the receiving team identify whom the kicker is. The kicker is the only player that is allowed to line up behind the K35, and after the ready for play, that player is the only player that is allowed to kick the ball. They cannot have a surprise onside kick, or we do have a dead ball, free kick infraction or illegal formation in that particular case. So the two things wrong in this are that there's no official on Team K's restraining line, as well as the fact that all players are touching or behind the K35. So another type of special enforcement is a free kick out of bounds. So we have a kick, it's grounded at the R35, and it goes out of bounds at the R25. The best option for Team R would be to enforce a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot and re-kick, or take the option which places the ball 25 yards from the succeeding spot, or the R35. In our next example here, we have K1 kicks the ball. It's grounded at the R40 and goes out of bounds there. The best option for Team R would be to enforce this penalty 5 yards from the out of bounds spot, or the R45, 1st and 10 for Team R. So that leads us to go through what are the special enforcements for a free kick out of bounds that's untouched by Team R. Remember that Team R can always decline the foul and take the ball out at the out of bounds spot. Not really sure why this would ever happen. Not sure if we should ever tell the coaches that this is an option for them, because they can always accept a 5-yard penalty and have K re-kick as option number 2. They can accept a 5-yard penalty from the out of bounds spot. So above there, again, the ball went out of bounds at the R40. They can take 5 yards and put the ball into play first and 10 from the R45, or they can put the ball into play at the inbound spot 25 yards beyond the previous spot. So this is generally the R35 when we are kicking from the K40. So K40 to the 50 would be 10 yards, and another 15 yards would be to the R35. So that's always an option, is to put the ball into play at the inbound spot 25 yards beyond the previous spot. So our takeaways from fouls during a free kick, we've talked about it in other instructional bulletins. It's extremely important for you to know when the foul occurred. During the kick, enforcement could be significantly different than after the kick or during Team R's run. Anytime Team R fouls during a free kick, the enforcement spot is always the previous spot. Anytime Team K fouls during the kick, Team R will have options: previous spot enforcement and a re-kick, or to tack on from the end of the run or the succeeding spot. Remember, similar to scrimmage kicks, if the kick ends in the end zone, the succeeding spot will be the R20. So we have a touchback. So the succeeding spot, we could tack it on from the R20 in the event that we have a touchback. And then when we talk about first touching of a free kick, so that can only occur within the first 10 yards. After 10 yards, the ball may be touched by Team K without violation. We could still have kick-catch interference if the ball hasn't been grounded, but we do not have first touching of a kick or during a free kick if that occurs outside of the 10-yard restraining area for Team K. And on behalf of the California Football Officials Association, appreciate everyone listening, and have a great game this week.